As you may or may not know, I'm a huge fan of the James Bond series of movies. I've seen all 24 of the official films in the series, and am very excited for number 25. Over the years, 6 actors have portrayed James Bond, and I wanted to give my thoughts on each of them. Number 6, George Lazenby. Having only been in one film in the franchise, George Lazenby had to be ranked at the bottom. Lazenby starred in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is honestly a great Bond film, but Lazenby's performance is easily the weakest part. He was a male model who faked his credentials to get the role, and it shows. He certainly looks the part, but his performance is stiff and his line delivery is often awkward. The producers didn't seem to mind, however, as they offered him a contract extension. Maybe he would have grown into the role, but luckily for viewers, his agent gave him some bad advice, and he declined to continue portraying Bond. Number 5, Roger Moore. From this point on, each actor is actually very close in the rankings, and could be moved around depending on what style of Bond I'm wanting to watch. Right now, Roger Moore comes in 5th for me. He leaned more heavily into Bond's humorous and campy side. Even in some of his weaker films, he's still charming to watch. In his last couple of films as Bond, he was getting a little too old, and the age difference between him and the Bond girls got a little weird at times. He also was never too keen on the action scenes, and sometimes it's pretty noticeable when the stunt double is in. Otherwise, I still really like him, though. Number 4, Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton starred in what I consider to be 2 of the best films in the entire series. But there lies the problem with Dalton. He only played Bond twice. After the Roger Moore era's camp, the pendulum swung heavily back the other way into a darker and grittier side of Bond. Dalton was a lot more physical than any previous Bond. This allowed them to rely on him more for action sequences, with him doing a lot of his own stunts. Dalton heavily studied the source material of Ian Fleming's novels, and gave what many consider to be the most book-accurate portrayal of Bond. Though his films didn't garner a lot of attention at the time of release, now they would likely fit right in with the Daniel Craig era. Number 3, Daniel Craig. Now we get to the modern era. Daniel Craig has portrayed Bond 4 times, with his 5th on the way. I've enjoyed each of his films a great deal, with Casino Royale being a top 3 film in the franchise for me. A lot of people, me included, were skeptical of him when he first was cast, but he immediately proved everyone wrong from the opening sequence of Casino Royale. His version of Bond is a lot like Dalton's, with the grittier take and a lot of action, but he also brings a bit more of an emotional or sentimental side to Bond. Number 2, Sean Connery. The original Bond, Sean Connery, might be the best, if not for my own personal biases. Connery brought together all the best parts of Bond. He's cool, manly, suave, comedic, and tough. Even in his weaker films, he is the best part. Even the unofficial Bond film, Never Say Never Again, is made better by his presence. He defined what Bond would be on film, and each actor since has had to live up to the bar he set. Number 1, Pierce Brosnan. This is where my bias comes in. Pierce Brosnan portrays Bond in my favorite Bond film, and one of my favorite films in general, GoldenEye. His portrayal is a mix of his 2 predecessors, Dalton and Moore. Brosnan brings the action and stunts of Dalton with the fun charm of Moore. His 4 films may be decline in quality as they go on, but Brosnan gives continuously great performances. Brosnan's films have a lot of nostalgia for me, being the ones that were released when I was a kid. Even a lot of the video games used his likeness. So when I think of James Bond, Pierce Brosnan is always who first comes to mind. Those are my rankings for the Bond actors, and some quick thoughts about each. I was originally planning to save this for alongside the release of No Time to Die, but as it's being delayed due to COVID-19, I'll likely do a ranking of all the films when it is finally released. So I'm looking forward to that, and thank you for watching.